So what is going on, everybody? Thank you so much for joining me for today's video. My name is Ray. I'm a guitar player here on YouTube, and contrary to what you might believe, this is not the latest iPhone. This is a Helix. We got a brand new Helix here. Sorry for that terrible joke. But anyway, man, yeah, a lot of you guys love the Helix stuff and love the Line 6 stuff. And it's funny for me because growing up, Line 6 was kind of like frowned upon. But like now they make killer modelers and just like are like arguably the best modeler for, you know, gigging and recording and touring musicians, all the above. Yeah, man, so I pulled the trigger and I picked up a Helix. So I'm not gonna lie to you guys, at the time of this filming, I've had this thing for maybe 22 hours, all right? So when I say this is a first impression and initial reaction video, I'm not kidding, man. Like, I literally got this thing up and running about 15 hours ago. It took several hours to understand this thing. And, you know, I'm still learning it, and I obviously don't have everything down. But compared to some other modelers, which we'll talk about, this thing was a huge learning curve. And it really was difficult to get my hands around. So starting right off, what do I like about it? Well, first and foremost, the sound. I think this thing sounds amazing. I've had an XFX2 back in my day, and I've played through real amplifiers and plugins and all the above, man, different floor units. But this thing is on par with anything I've ever played and used. It sounds amazing. Has so many awesome amplifiers in there, everything from dual rectifiers to Bogners to Diesels to Archons to 5150s, you name it, anything for a high gain metal player, it's got you covered. Now the amplifier I chose to use in the last 24 hours is the Archetype, which is modeling after a PRS Archon. I like that the most. I think it sounds absolutely insane, rowdy, in your face. It has a decent amount of extra low end compared to some of the other amplifiers. And I like that because, especially with my Balaguer Toro, which is just big single coil jazz master pickups, it doesn't have a lot of low end inherently. So if an amplifier can, you know, give me some more low end where the guitar doesn't have it naturally, I think that's a win for me. Another thing I love about this unit is all the built-in effects, pedals, cabinets, all the above. Basically, just variety and just an abundance of options and tweaking options. You know, I'll just wrap this all up into one big positive. There's so much you can do with this unit, and it was just a good thing and a bad thing. It was great when I, you know, fired it up and I saw how much you could tweak and how much you could add and, you know, all the above. But, man, you can get lost in the rabbit hole, so to speak, you know what I mean? This is very similar to like an XFX for me, where it's like almost too much options. And, you know, some people like tweaking, I don't like tweaking, so it could be very overwhelming, and I will continue to go down the rabbit hole for the next weeks, months, and years with this thing. But for right now, you know, it's a positive in the sense that, like, man, if you want some sort of specific tone, you can dial it in with the Line 6 Helix. One more final positive in terms of options. I love that the Line 6 Helix has real-world analog pedals and amplifiers modeled in here. You know, it's kind of silly, like where like companies will have to do the workaround. Well, they'll have to call it something very similar and close to the real deal, but due to I'm assuming like trademarks and legal actions, they can't call it. But there's like a Horizon Devices pedal in here. There's some Rev amplifiers in here. Like literally, it says the brand name, and I think that's cool, man. Having the ability to just model the real deal thing and call it the real deal. I don't know, it's just like another added little thing. You know, I just think that's just a cool little added feature when like it's modeling the real deal and you see the literal name visually in the unit. Just kind of, I don't know, just like a nice little added feature for me personally. Now, after having this thing for just a day, you know, bear with me, it's just been a day, but my initial reactions, there's two things I don't like. One, the screen is not touchscreen. Now, that's just a sign of the times. I know maybe my generation, we're so used to things being touchscreen. I've probably touched this thing trying to move blocks and tweak blocks about 1,000 times in one day. Not even kidding. And that's just, you know, my own fault for assuming that this is touchscreen. But, you know, I come from headrush land and just iPhone land, right, and iPad land. So where like anything that's digital is pretty much touchscreen anymore. So the fact that this isn't touchscreen, is a little bit of a negative for me, but it's also too just, like I said, a sign of the times, a sign of my generation where like we're so accustomed to things being touchscreen. But the fact that it's not, it's still kind of a negative, but that's just something I gotta get used to, right? And the last negative, again, just as an initial startup thing, this thing is very hard to set up for me personally. It took me a long time after reading the manual. I never read the manual, but you know, I actually had to crack it open and read about it. You know, again, that's probably just my own fault, but learning how to like preset the buttons and, you know, make the buttons learn what you want to do took some tweaking, man. It wasn't just like a head rush where it's automatically assigned, you click it on and off and you're good to go. This thing has a little bit more in depth, but once you get it up and running after several hours, at least for me, several hours, it was much easier and much more intuitive. I hate that word, but it's true. It is a lot more intuitive once you get it up and running. And the last thing I'll say about the Helix, and let you guys in on like why I picked this thing up, well, it's kind of obvious, but in case you're unaware, like it's a sign of the times, man. You know, Rhett Shaw put out an amazing video talking about the state of the world and how unfortunately with things going on in the world, you know, things such as an inconvenience of tube amplifiers not having tubes is a problem that we have to deal with. Now, he said it in his video, I'll say here, just because, you know, some people always try to twist my words. Not having tubes in a tube amplifier is like so not a problem in the grand scheme of things. I don't even really know why we have to say this publicly, but you know, you get a lot of people trying to just like twist your words. Like obviously tubes in a tube amplifier is not a big deal in the grand scheme of things in the rest of the world, obviously, but just being very sensitive to that topic. Yeah, tubes being scarce, not that big of a deal with the real world things going on in the world, right? So getting back to guitar nerdom, having a tube amplifier out on the road and playing it for days and days and days and just, you know, carrying it all over the country may put a lot of unnecessary wear and tear on a tube amplifier when you don't have the means to maintain it for the time being. So a Helix, I think it sounds absolutely amazing, and it's just a potential possible way for me to gig in the very near future and let my tube amplifiers stay home and kind of just let them, you know, chill out for a little bit until we can get some more parts for them. So yeah, everybody, like I'm leaving for tour here in 5 days, and right now I still don't know what I'm taking on the road. Like I could take my big giant analog tube rig, or I could take my compact Helix. Like I don't know. You know, it's a game time decision right now, you know what I mean? I really don't know what I'm gonna bring. I want to bring my big tube rig and bring my Victory amps, but I don't know if it's smart, especially as an opening band, as direct support. I'm not headlining, so I don't know, man. A Helix might be a feasible thing just for this tour. But how I have it set up, in case you guys are wondering, is I have two of the exact same rigs coming from the same guitar input, and then their outputs are two different things. One is going to front of house, and it has a speaker cab on it, and the other one is the exact same rig that is going to one of the 1/4 inch outs, and the cab's off, and then I can run that into a solid state power amp and then power a speaker cab. So I can have one going to front of house for the mixing board, and then have one going into my 4x12 on stage, and therefore I get best of both worlds. I can hear myself and monitor myself on stage, and then I can get the monitor from front of house, and then the front of house can put me through the PA in the venue. So yeah, this thing is just like a one-stop shop, you know, a cliche, one-stop shop, but it's true, man. It does everything in-house. All I need is a separate power amp, and then I'm good to go. So everybody, quick initial reaction with the Line 6 Helix, man. I really sincerely love it. It was very frustrating to get used to, I'm not gonna lie, but the sound is just absolutely amazing, and I'm just, you know, barely scratching the surface, and I just wanted to get this video out, not only for you guys, but for myself, as to like document my initial reactions and my initial thoughts and initial tones with the Line 6 Helix. So everybody, that's going to do it for this video, man. Just a quick little video. I wanted to let you guys know that I got a Helix, and I'm going to do a much more in-depth review, and especially if I take it out on the road, I'll have an entire month with it on the road with me, and then I can come home and, you know, really talk about the pros and cons of it. But for right now, this is an initial thought, okay? So everybody, that's going to do it for this video. If you're brand new to my channel, be sure to subscribe. I am out of here. Thank you so much for watching. Stay safe, stay healthy, and stay metal. See you guys next time. Later.